I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Is that right?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a look at that document and tell me if you recognize it.
Yes, I see it.
Is that a transcript of your entire testimony at the grand jury in April of 2022?
I believe so, yes.
You've reviewed it in the past?
I have read it about a year ago, yes.
You read it in anticipation of your testimony a year ago, correct?
Yes, I reviewed it.
Have you reviewed it in preparation for your testimony today?
No, I haven't.
Yesterday. Ms. McCabe, turn to the page or pages in that transcript where you recount to the grand jurors that my client said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
This is over 227 pages.
Take your time.
How long did you say it was, Ms. McCabe?
227?
I'm not going to let her read 227 pages.
You reviewed it before, haven't you?
I reviewed it a year ago, yes.
You read the whole thing cover to cover, didn't you?
I skimmed through it.
One of the most important points in your testimony yesterday and today is recounting these jurors the phrase, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Is that right?
Objection.
To the form of that, I'm sustaining it.
Was it important to you to tell these jurors that you heard my client say, I hit him 3 times?
I answered the questions, and I'm telling the jurors what I know.
Was it important to you before testifying today that you recount to these jurors the phrase, I hit him, coming out of my client's mouth?
Your client said she hit him, yes.
That's not my question. Listen to my question, Ms. McCabe.
I'm sorry.
Was it important to you, before you testified, to tell these jurors, under oath, that my client said, I hit him 3 times?
As a witness, it's important to tell the truth and to answer the question you were asked.
And in point of fact, in your entire grand jury testimony, you never said, my client said the words, I hit him, did you?
Again, it's 227 pages.
Ms. McCabe, you were there. They're your words. I'm not asking you to rehearse something. You were there. Did you tell the grand jurors that my client said I hit him?
I have testified a number of times, but I was there the morning of January 29th when your client said I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Did you tell that to the grand jurors?
I'm not sure.
It's because you didn't, did you?
Again, I'm not sure.
Ms. McCabe, you were asked in your grand jury testimony no fewer than a dozen times, 12 times, 12 separate times, you were asked to repeat words that my client said both before, going to, and at the scene at 34th Fairview that morning. Correct?
Objection.
Do you know the answer to that?
No.
You were asked multiple times what my client's words were that you heard her say going to and at the scene. Correct?
I was correct.
And you recounted those words truthfully and honestly at that time, correct?
Correct.
Because you were under the same oath that you're under today.
Correct.
And things were much fresher in your mind then than they are now 3.5 years later. Would you agree with that?
I hit him, I hit him, I hit him is just as fresh today as it was 3 years ago.
Turn to page 190, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
For court and counsel lines 10 and 11.
Which lines? I'm sorry.
10 and 11.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You recounted what Ms. Reed said to you over the phone to the grand jurors, correct?
Correct.
And what she said at 4:53 a.m. was, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? She didn't say it. She asked it, correct?
She didn't say that at 4:53.
Did you testify that what Ms. Reed said to you that morning over the phone was, could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
May I?
Oh, sure.
Just wanted to verify a page number, Your Honor. May I approach?
Yes. Why don't you tell Mr. Brennan the page number?
I will, with each one. If you turn to page 192. Line 4. What did you tell the grand jurors my client said in that answer?
Foundation.
What
Did
are we
you-
talking about?
I'll ask it a different way. Did you answer a question on page 192, line 4, concerning my client's statement?
Did I answer a question?
You were answering a question, correct?
Oh, yes, yes.
All right.
I'm sorry.
And the answer that you gave to the grand jurors was, she said, could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, that's part of the answer I gave.
Turn to page 193.
I'd object.
So I don't want to have to see it sidebar. We need context in order for this to be admissible, Mr. Jackson. I have no idea what that said.
Your Honor, everyone,
the answer is.
I can make an offer of proof at sidebar, if you wish.
Okay, why don't you come to sidebar?
Sure.
And bring them.
May I approach the witness?
Yes. Do you have an extra copy for yourself,
I have
Mr.
notes.
Jackson?
I have
Okay.
notes.
Thank you.
I think my notes is. On page 192, line 4, for context, were you talking about a statement that was made in Karen's car on that morning before you got to the scene?
192.
192, line 4.
Yes, that was a comment you made in the car.
And she said the phrase, you recounted that she said the phrase, could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, that was part of my answer.
Take a look at page 193, line 1 through 2. This was also in the context of a conversation that was in Karen's car, correct?
Yes.
And the phrase that you attributed to my client was, could I have hit him? The question, correct?
Yes.
Page 193, line 23. In the context of being in John's driveway at One Meadows,
Yes.
and you attributed the statement, and she's asking if she could have hit him, correct?
Yes, when she showed me her taillight.
Page 201, lines 23 and 24. This is driving to Fairview. She asked, what if I hit him? Could I have hit him? Correct?
Can you tell me the lines?
I'm sorry, lines 23 and 24. Page 201.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I've read it.
She stated, according to you, what if I hit him? Could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, she did.
Page 202, top of the page, line 1 and 2. Again, in context, this is driving to Fairview before you arrived at Fairview. And she again asked, quote, according to you and your testimony in front of the grand jury, could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, I see that here as part of my answer.
Then turn to page 208, lines 24 and 25.
I'm sorry, what? Lines 24 and 25?
Lines 24 and 25, let me know when you've
I've read them,
reviewed
thank you.
those. For context, this is at the scene, outside Fairview.
Yes.
And you told those grand jurors under oath, she asked, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes.
On page 208, lines 24 and 20, I'm sorry, 208 and 209, going on to page 209, lines 1 through 3. You actually recounted to the grand jurors a conversation that you said my client had with a female EMT standing right there, exactly as you testified to today. Female EMT. You see that?
I do, yes.
And what did you say my client's statements were in front of that female EMT?
In this, I say that she said, could I have hit him? Is he dead?
It's actually, did I hit him?
Oh, sorry, I missed that part. I apologize. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead?
And that was at the scene in front of the female EMT, exactly the scene that you're describing. You attributed the 3 statements to my client to today, right?
There was many different times when we were talking to different EMTs, the female EMT, the men, the police officers.
May I approach?
Yes.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Ms. McCabe, your full statement at page 208, starting at lines 22 through 25, going on to page 209, down to line 4, was, quote, so there are different, police officers getting statements from us. And at one point I'm standing with Miss Reed and she's saying, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And there was, I believe, an EMT, a female, standing right next to me listening to her yelling, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? It was pretty nonstop, pretty much nonstop. That was your testimony in front of the grand jurors, correct?
Yes, it was.
And that was April 26th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Not one time. Not one time, Ms. McCabe, did you utter the phrase, I hit him, as it relates to my client in front of that grand jury on April 26th, 2022, did you? Not once.
I'd have to read through the 227 pages to see.
As you sit here today, do you remember ever saying to those grand jurors, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, in front of a female EMT?
I've spoken to in a few grand juries. What I said specifically at different ones, I don't recall at this moment, but I do know that morning your client said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 3 times, and there was a female EMT there.
You spoke with Trooper Proctor just the same day, right? January 29th.
Yes.
Trooper Proctor was taking notes
Yes.
about your conversation?
Yes, he was.
You reviewed those notes, as a matter of fact, at some point.
I didn't review his notes. I think I've seen a report at one point or another.
On that very day, January 29th, 2022, when you were asked to recount what happened at the scene, who was doing what and who said what, you never told Trooper Proctor that my client said, I hit him either, did you?
Oh, I told him. Yes, I did.
He just leave that out of his report?
I'm not responsible for his report.
No, you're not. But you have read his report.
So again, no comments, Mr. Jackson.
You have read his report, right?
I have seen it before, yes.
Mayor Proctor.
Yes.
Thank you.
You looked at that report for another particular this morning. Do you still recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Can you review that report, scan it, and let me know when you're done?
Okay, is there something specific I should be looking for?
I don't think you're going to find it, Ms. McCabe. It's for,
All
I hit
right,
him.
so again, jurors disregard the comments. So it's question, answer format only.
My question is, do you see the phrase, I hit him, as it's attributable to my client in that report?
Objection.
System.
Do you recall telling Trooper Proctor that my client said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
Objection.
Do you recall that?
Yes, I told him.
He was taking notes at the time.
He was taking notes, correct?
Those notes ended up being memorialized in a formal report.
I'm assuming he,
The report that you're holding.
I object.
Sustained.
Does that appear to be a report of the January 29th, 11:35 or so a.m. interview that you did with Trooper Proctor?
yes, it does.
You said you reviewed that report in the past,
Yes, in the past.
and you're aware in no place in that report does the phrase "I hit him" show up anywhere, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Yeah, Can I approach?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to approach the witness. Sorry, Mr. Brennan. I'm so sorry. I'm being vague. I was just grabbing the report back. Sorry. May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Sure.
I want to draw your attention to the very early morning hours of January 29th, around 4:53 a.m. when you indicated you received that phone call from Kaylee's phone. Do you have that time and date in mind?
Yes, I do.
My client told you that John had not come home, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that Miss Reed at that point was awake and looking for John.
I didn't know what, I just knew that she was awake and screaming.
Right, because she was worried about where John was.
Objection.
Sustained.
You've been asked who you communicated with first thing that morning after you received that first call from Miss Reed. Is that right?
Yes.
You were asked by Trooper Prince in her formal interview. Trooper Prince interviewed you on February 1st, about 3 days after the incident, correct?
I've met with a lot. I don't really remember specific days.
Do you remember a female trooper?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay. In your house?
Yes.
Or I should say at your house?
Yes.
That was around 3 days after the incident?
Was it Tuesday, maybe? Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I think so, yes, if
Okay.
it's the one I'm thinking.
You were also asked at the same grand jury who you communicated with on the morning of January 29th.
Okay.
You remember that?
Not specifically.
Would it refresh your recollection if we were to take a look at that, a specific page of that grand jury transcript?
Sure.
Do you need a couple of minutes, Mr. Jackson?
I do, Your Honor.
So, jurors, why don't you stand up and stretch, okay? And you can too, Ms. McCabe, if you want to.
Thanks.
Mr. Jackson, do you want a 5-minute recess?
Sure. Come on, yes.
We're still going to stop at 4, so really 5 minutes, folks. We'll have you go back and come back.
Back in session, you may be seated.
All right, you all set, Mr. Jackson?
I am, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we're bringing the jurors over. Are we still on schedule?
We are.
Okay.
The school is in session. Please be seated.
All right, whenever you're ready, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. McCabe, I want to draw your attention back to the morning, later in the morning, after you're back at 34 Fairview, after the police have already cleared the scene, and you're back with your friends and family inside the home at 34 Fairview. We've already talked about the fact that the witnesses were not sequestered in any way, they were not separated in any way by the police. Is that right?
We were just sitting together with friends
Right.
and family, so yeah, no.
Everybody was free, all the friends and family that were in there were free to talk amongst themselves, which you did do, correct?
Yes.
All right. Everybody had the opportunity to say their piece and to listen to others say their piece as well.
We had conversations. It wasn't really nothing more than that.
At some point, you did, I think you mentioned this on direct examination, you did reach out to Mike Lank. Is that right?
Yes.
Remind us who Mike Lank is in your world, in addition to being a Canton police officer, police sergeant, I think he was at the time. Who is he in your world?
He was just a local guy that I, knew was friendly with.
And had gone to high school with?
No.
Was he ahead of you in high school?
We weren't in high school at the same time.
Got it. He was about 5 years ahead of you, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But you'd known him or known of him from basically childhood or young adulthood.
Yeah, I just knew him from around town.
At some point, you decided that you were going to call Sergeant Lank back to the scene because there was a piece of information that you wanted to provide him again. Sorry, provide him so he needed to come back again.
Yes.
Ultimately, you called him on his cell phone, right?
I did, yes.
So you were close enough that you had his cell phone number, he had your cell phone number.
No, I didn't have his cell phone number.
Where did you get that number?
I asked Julie Albert for that number.
So Julie had his cell phone number.
Yes, she did.
And Julie is Chris's wife?
Yes.
She was at the location?
Yes.
When I say the location, 34 Fairview that morning?
Yes.
As was Chris.
He came at some point. I don't know if he was there when I called Officer Lank or not.
As was Brian Higgins, correct?
Yes, he was.
He came back over to the location as well.
Yes, he did.
As a matter of fact, it was Brian Higgins who suggested that you reach out to Officer Lank.
I'm not sure if it was him who suggested it.
Someone suggested to you that you reach out to Officer Lank, is that right?
As I was sitting there remembering things, I believe, I can't say who did or didn't.
So as you were sitting there remembering things, you weren't just remembering things, you were remembering things and then telling others things that you remembered.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yes.
others were absorbing whatever information you were providing to them and vice versa.
No one was really providing me any information because they didn't know what happened.
So you were, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just sitting there trying to recount what had transpired since I got that 4:53 phone call.
And one of the things that you decided you wanted to tell Sergeant Lank was a statement by my client.
Yes,
So you call Sergeant Lank on his cell phone, and you're able to get a hold of him, correct?
yes.
Whatever he's doing, I'm guessing he was busy at the time.
I don't know what he was doing.
He was the first responder on a death of a police officer case that was just hours old. So he had to have been busy.
I would assume. I, again, don't know what he was doing.
But in fact, after you got your phone call, you dropped everything and headed back to 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
Sustained.
Did he come back to 34 Fairview quickly?
He was there fairly quickly, yes, I would say.
And that was at your request?
Yes, I called him and asked him to come back.
Because you told him that you had information that was important enough that he needed to get over there so you could tell him in person what this new information was.
I called him and told him that I was remembering things and asked if he could come back.
And he didn't just say, yeah, just tell me what it is over the phone. He literally said, okay, I'm going to get in my car, drive in a blizzard. It was still a blizzard, right?
Yes, it was.
I'm going to get all my gear on, drive in a blizzard back over to 34 Fairview, get out of my cruiser, come into the house, and get ready for this new information that you're going to give me. Correct?
He did not say all that, no.
No, that's what he did.
I have no idea what he did. I called him and then he came.
Well, he didn't walk over. I mean, he came over in his car, right?
I would assume so, yes.
Right. So he had to get in his car, drive over in a blizzard, get out of the car, walk through the blizzard, go to the front door, and get ready for this new meeting that he's going to have with you, correct?
Yes, that seems like steps one would take.
And whatever it was that you wanted to tell him, you let him know it was important enough to have a special additional meeting. It wasn't something that you were just going to sit on. You wanted to give him this information immediately without hesitation, correct?
He said if I remembered anything to give him a call, so I did.
So when he came back over, he obviously had a notepad and a pen in his hand, correct?
I believe he was taking notes.
And you told him, you testified this morning that what you told him was Karen Reed said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, right?
Correct.
But when he wrote this report, you said, she said, I hope I didn't hit him. Correct?
I don't have his report in front of me.
Yeah, just wondering.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You could turn to the orange tab. Do you see that?
I do, yes.
Okay, and you've had a chance to read it?
Just the highlighted
Okay.
part.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. In fact, what you told Officer Lank was something to the effect of, I hope I didn't hit him. Correct?
Incorrect. I told him that she said I hit him.
He wrote in his report, that you just read, something to the effect of,
Sustained.
I hope I didn't hit him.
Sustained.
Is this another example of an officer getting a report wrong?
Objection.
Is that report right?
Your Honor. Objection.
Sustained. Move on, Mr. Jackson.
I hope I didn't hit him, or something to the effect of, I hope I didn't hit him. Sounds an awful lot like, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Do you agree with that?
It does sound similar, yeah.
You testified yesterday that during that first phone call, that first phone conversation with Ms. Reed at 4:53 a.m., she told you, according to your testimony, that in that phone call, in that very first phone call, Ms. Reed said she had gotten into a fight, her taillight was cracked, and she asked, could I have hit him or did I hit him? Correct?
Incorrect.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
The first phone call, she had said we got into a fight and he didn't come home and I left him at the waterfall. In the second phone call, once I told her that I saw her outside of my sister's house on Fairview, that is when she said, could she have hit him, and talked about her taillight.
So 2 hours after Ms. Reed found John O'Keefe and began giving him CPR, you were interviewed by Sergeant Sean Good, correct?
Objection.
Ask the question differently, Mr. Jackson.
2 hours after Ms. Reed found Mr. O'Keefe, about 2 hours later, say 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, after the scene was cleared, you were interviewed by Sean Good, were you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. While you were at the scene, after Miss Reed had been giving CPR, Sean Good interviewed you, correct?
I don't remember a formal interview with Sean Good.
Do you remember talking to him?
When he arrived at the scene, I do remember briefly talking to him after all three of us gave John CPR.
And he asked you certain questions about what you'd seen, what you'd heard, what had happened, correct?
I have to tell you that I remember seeing him there and I remember talking to him, but I do not remember specifics of any conversation or any questions that he asked me.
Do you remember him do you remember him asking you about any initial calls you had and you telling him about that 4:53 call and the early morning calls thereafter? The initial calls before you met up with Miss Reed?
I don't recall.
Did you tell Sergeant Good, by the way, he was a sergeant at the time. Sean Good was a sergeant, not an officer?
I'm not sure.
Okay. By the way, you knew Sergeant Good, did you not?
I didn't know him. I knew of him, like I knew his name, but that was it.
How'd you know of him before that day?
Because his sister is a year or two younger than me, and I knew she had a brother that was younger, that was a Canton cop, just through the town, but I didn't know him.
Okay, friendly but not friends.
I wouldn't even say I was friendly with him.
Okay. You actually told Sergeant Good at the time, when he asked about those first phone calls, that when Miss Reed called you, she was inquiring about John's whereabouts, correct?
Again, I don't recall my conversations with Sean Good.
You certainly never mentioned to Sergeant Good the incessant screaming and hysteria that you've described here in court.
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever mention anything about an argument or a fight to Sean Good?
Objection.
Sustained, Mr. Jackson. She said she didn't remember. Next question.
I have to go through the series of machinations. I don't know what she remembers and doesn't remember.
Next question, Mr. Jackson.
Did you mention anything about a cracked taillight to Sergeant Good?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you have no memory at all about what you talked to Sergeant Good about?
There were many officers there,
Right.
and like I said, I know I talked to Sergeant Good, but I do not remember the specifics of my conversation during that chaotic scene.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
Let me ask a different question. There were many officers there, and many officers were asking you questions, correct?
Correct.
Did you did you tell any officer while at the scene that during those first few phone calls, first couple of phone calls with Miss Reed, that there was incessant screaming and hysteria?
Again, there were many officers asking me questions. Most of them were regarding who John was, if he had medical issues or concerns, things like that.
Right.
It was a chaotic scene. I don't remember any specific questions about phone calls. I apologize.
But you did tell at least one officer about the initial phone call that you received indicating that John may be missing, correct?
I possibly said I got a phone call and that's why I'm here. We all came out to look for him. I apologize for not remembering specifics.
Did you tell any officer at the scene anything about an argument or fighting that Miss Reed said occurred on that first couple of phone calls?
Again, the conversations were very brief and they were with a lot of different officers. There wasn't
yes or no?
in-depth conversations.
It's yes or no?
Let her answer the question.
Do you recall, that is a yes or no question, do you recall telling any officer about a conversation in the initial couple of phone calls that you had with Miss Reed about fighting or being in an argument? Do you recall that?
I cannot answer yes or no.
Well, you either do or you don't. If you don't,
I said
just say
there
you
was
don't.
many different conversations. I am not sure.
So you don't recall.
I'm not sure on specific conversations about that. I apologize.
Is there a reason why you're not telling us that you simply don't recall making that statement?
Sustained.
Do you recall telling any officer about a cracked taillight that came up in one of those first two phone calls?
At the scene,
At the scene.
again, I think all the conversations were about what was happening in the present time.
And literally, this was a couple of hours after this incident, correct? When everything was freshest in your mind.
These conversations were at the scene when Miss Reed was running around screaming.
Were you also interviewed by Officer Mullaney?
Again, there were many officers there that I spoke to.
Ms. McCabe, do you understand my question? Did you understand the last question I asked you?
If I spoke to an officer, Mullaney,
Correct.
again, I could have. I am not sure. I don't remember every officer. It was a chaotic scene. I had just found my friend on the ground.
So the answer is, I don't remember.
I
Correct?
don't remember speaking to him. No, sorry.
Later that morning, you did have a conversation with Officer Lank that you actually do remember, correct?
Yes, correct.
What you told Officer Lank, or Sergeant Lank, was that you received a phone call from Kaylee's phone and that Karen Reed was distraught because John never came home, correct?
I told him she was, I don't remember the exact words, but I told him something like she was hysterical and screaming and said John never came home.
You never mentioned that she said anything about a fight during that initial phone call, correct?
Again, I'm not sure what exactly was said during that initial phone call.
You never mentioned that she said something about a cracked taillight in that initial phone call or those two phone calls, correct?
Are these phone calls with who? Who are these phone calls? Who am I speaking
The
to at this
initial
point?
phone calls that you had with Miss Reed,
Yes.
you never mentioned to Officer Lank, or Sergeant Lank, that Miss Reed mentioned anything about a fight or an argument, correct?
I don't remember.
You never mentioned anything about Miss Reed saying anything about a cracked taillight in one of those two phone calls, correct?
Again, I don't remember all the things that I told Officer Lank.
And you certainly never mentioned that Miss Reed said anything about could I have hit him in either of those initial phone calls, correct?
Again, I don't remember my specific conversation with Officer Lank.
So you don't remember the conversation that you had with Officer Lank when it was the clear light of day. You had a chance to take a beat and a breath, catch your breath, because it's now 11:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. You don't remember anything about that conversation. But according to your testimony, you remember in detail what my client said, waking you out of a dead sleep. Correct?
So I didn't speak to him at 11:30. It was earlier in the morning when he came back to Fairview.
Let's call it 9 o'clock. Whatever.
Okay.
Right? Whatever. It wasn't the same chaos as my client screaming into the phone that John never came home, waking you out of a dead sleep, correct?
Correct.
But when you recounted that conversation or those conversations to Sergeant Lank, you didn't say a thing about Miss Reed saying that there had been an argument, did you?
I'm saying I don't remember the specifics of my conversation with Officer Lank. I'm also saying that I was woken up out of a dead sleep. Karen showed up at my house screaming. I went out to help her look for John. And then we found one of my closest friends on the front lawn. And she was saying crazy things and acting crazy and
Ms. McCabe,
acting
that's not my
erratic.
question.
And so every
Ms. McCabe,
police
that is
officer
not
that
my
I
question.
spoke to,
Let her finish.
every police officer that I spoke to, I tried to answer their questions the best I could. It took me hours and in some cases days to remember all the things that Miss Reed had said. My mind, I was in a state of shock. But the minute I remembered, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. I called Officer Lank.
And your memory's getting better even as we sit here today, correct?
There are certain things I will never forget, Mr. Jackson.
Including the fact that you never, ever, ever said, she said the words I hit him to a grand jury when you were asked about it 3 months after the incident, correct?
She said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit
You
him.
never told that to the grand jurors, did you?
I don't remember specifically that every grand jury and everything I said, but I can tell you with 100% accuracy, she screamed, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
And you never said that to the grand jurors.
I don't recall if I
You were
did.
there to get the truth, correct?
The truth is, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
You were asked that specific question at the grand jury. What did she say at the scene in front of the female EMT? And you know what your answer was? You do, because you just read it.
I wasn't asked what she was said at
What
the
was the
scene.
answer to that question?
I'm objecting.
The objection sustained. Ask one more clear question, Mr. Jackson.
What was the answer you gave in answer to the question about what was said by Miss Reed to the EMT, the female EMT at the scene? What did you say she said?
I don't know if I was asked specifically what she said to a female EMT.
All right, we're going to end this now.
Your Honor, may I have one more question?
Go ahead.
I can't end it like this. You said,
Okay,
she
jurors,
said.
ignore the comments of counsel. Ask one question, Mr. Jackson.
You said that she said, could I have hit him? Did I hit him in the presence of the female EMT? That's what you testified to under oath at the grand jury, isn't it?
Yes, because she also said that.
All right. So, folks, we are done for today. You remember tomorrow is the day that we're not in session. So we will see you Friday. Friday is a full day. And I have to give you those questions. You can stay and file out after the jurors misbehave. Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into the case. If you happen to see, hear, or read about the case, please disregard it and let us know, and be very careful with your social media. Have a great night, a good day off tomorrow. We'll see you on Friday. Thank you.
Rise to the jury.
Goodbye.
session, Ms. Giannetti? Mr. Jackson, I'm not rushing you in any way. I just want to know, how much longer do you think you'll be?
I appreciate that, Your Honor. 10 seconds.
Sure, take your time.